All right.
All right.
We are back together again. Yeah.
We are.
We are back together again. There we go. All right, perfect.
All right.
Everything's up and running. Hi, guys.
Hey, today we are going to discuss the tremendous power and calming effect of rituals in your relationships. So I'm John.
I am Sandy. And yesterday we actually were separate, and we were I was at our little beach space that I use as an office. Hi, Estelia. And then John was back at home, and he actually surprised me this morning, and he showed up here so we could actually do this together live. So it was good to see you. I missed you. That's the first time I've been without him in a very long time, and we're blessed that we had this little reprieve that we could take a little bit of a breather.
It is. And I think sometimes you truly do. You can, as much as you spend time together, there's also value in spending time on your own and being able to recharge yourself and just spend some time that way as well. So, but I love being back. I missed you, baby. All right. So
can you be honest for a second? Did you really miss me?
I did.
What did you miss?
I did. I missed just being with you. I missed feeling your energy in the house. I missed being with you. And it was nice to have some time on my own,
mm-hmm.
but there was also a definite absence
mm-hmm.
by you being here.
Yeah. I think sometimes, and I learned this from some of our teachers, John and Kendra, that sometimes I think we need to be conscious of what we say. Are we always saying I love you, but not really thinking about I love you? Are we saying I missed you, and then you roll into something else? And I don't mean just you, but just in general, if we could pay attention to that, because it's actually fascinating too. Because the truth is, last night I was planning on coming home, as you know, and it wasn't until I was going to bed around midnight that mm-hmm. I thought about that. Yeah. So anyway, I think it's also important to be honest, like where we are, and what do we miss and what do we love? Yeah.
So one of the things that we have found, though, that we do on a regular basis, whether we're together or not, mm-hmm. is having rituals. And this is a tremendous value to your relationships, not just your romantic relationships, but I think any relationships. And we have some examples, some great stories that I've been shared by friends on that, and by you as well. But part of what we'll do is we have a morning ritual mm-hmm. that we'll do. We each have our own daily practice, and then we also have a joint practice that we do together. You want to share it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, anybody that's in performance, coaching, I know we do this as well. We talk to clients about having a morning ritual, and Tony Robbins calls it the hour of power. There's different labels around it, but everybody knows that when you have a little bit of structure, even for someone like me that doesn't necessarily love it, it sets you up for success. So I know for me, I have my own separate sacred practice, I like to call it, that I do every day that keeps me grounded and keeps me centered and allows me actually to walk more in my feminine, but also allows me to be very productive throughout the day. For example, mine includes I dance to 3 songs a day. I also have my own prayer and devotion. And then I also make sure that I actually get grounded and centered with a meditation. And that's what I do for myself. John and I actually, we do we get together every morning around 8:30. That's our time, 8:30 in the morning, between 8:30 and 9:30. And we have what we call, our sacred practice.
Our morning power quarter hour is how it's on the calendar. Yeah. But we do a prayer and devotion together. And we also have currently have a Kundalini yoga practice that we're doing together. And that it'll change, but the ritual of doing something together, doing the daily prayer mm-hmm. and then mm-hmm. doing something else together is part of it, followed by a dog walk.
Hey, Buttercup. Hey, Julie. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, I mean, so it sounds kind of mundane. I mean, even hearing John say it, I'm like, oh, God, it sounds awful. But the truth is that what I get from that is, hi, Ashley. What happens is that I know I feel grounded and centered because he's the master of time and space. Now, for you that might not be with your partner right now, or maybe your partner has not, Kundalini, right? Maybe your partner hasn't shown up in your life yet. It's very important for you to have your own practice, because remember, in the masculine energy, that's going to be your master of time and space. So we are a master of time and space. Whether you're a single mom and you're the master of time and space as you're homeschooling in that structure, or just in your morning practice, or maybe it's your evening practice, whatever soothes your soul. That's really important to have your own space and to understand the different energies there.
Yeah, and again, these aren't monumental things, but it is the consistency of small things.
Mm-hmm.
It's small things done well and consistently that really build up over time. One of the things that really impacted me so much when we were dating, when we first met and we
Mm-hmm.
started dating, is Sandy shared a story about couples in long distance relationships having something called first call, last
Mm-hmm.
call.
Yeah.
And they would share the very first words that they spoke every day would be with each other. And the very last words would be with each other, even if they were remote, and they would
Yeah.
just send a voice memo back and forth, or they would call each other. It'd just be words or a video. And so the next morning, I implemented it. I called her up as here's first call, and here you go. And we started that practice, and it was amazing how just connected
Mm-hmm.
it made us in a very short period of time, knowing that the very first words and the very last words that you're speaking are with
Yeah.
someone you love. Yeah.
Yeah, one of our friends, he's actually on the indie circuit, and he's traveling or was traveling quite a bit. And so we had suggested this to them that they have this first call and last call, and it really did help their relationship. I know that when my son's dad and I, when we split up, honestly, from the point he was one until he actually got his own phone. I mean, maybe 11 or 12 it was. I can't even remember. But we did a 7 o'clock in the morning call and a 7 o'clock in the evening call. And it did not matter what was happening. Lance and I were like diligent that Cameron was going to talk to one of us, and it just created such safety for my son. And also, I mean, I'll be honest, for me, I mean, my nervous system was calm because, I mean, one of the downfalls of divorce is that you're not with your kids all the time, right? So, I mean, that's just something I always tell clients and friends who are, anticipating that happening, create that safe structure. It actually calms the nervous system to have rituals, to have things that you can look forward to, which is another reason why, hi Natita, which is why we actually come on at 11:15 every day, because we want to make sure that you guys can count on us to be here during the weekday, because we're hoping that you're going to get some nuggets from us, and we know that you will. And we want to be consistent. So I really thank John, because John's added so much structure in my life. And I'll be honest, sometimes I actually, sometimes I'm kind of a brat and I don't want it. And luckily we know how to play with those energies. I think we may talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. We'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow.
It's really good.
But no, I mean, look, man, this is kind of the challenge, right? That a lot of times we are initiating a structure, right? But there's an art to keeping it from being too rigid and from keeping it from being too loose. So that's an art of feeling into at what point is it some flexibility to say we're going to do things a little bit differently, and some freedom for spontaneity and joy and excitement. And at what point is it, no, this is what we're going to do and we're staying on purpose, and no, we're not doing anything else. We're doing this, and we're doing this now.
And we mentioned last week, I mean, many times when, a man, the masculine in the relationship, even if you're same sex, I mean, whoever's more masculine, when you're like a hard no, it actually resets our nervous system too, because then we're like, okay, he's trustable. He's trustable. He'll tell me no, but not abuse it. I mean, you have to trust your partner and also know they're coming from a place of warrior strength and not a misogynistic place. So you understand the difference between someone abusing their power and someone who's coming and really has their best interest at heart. You'll hear us talk about the 3 stages of love. And John and I really like to live in that third stage where we see God in the other person, and that we also know our soul's purpose. And if we're deviating from that, we like to call each other out in love. And there's the art of that. Our teachers call it the art of intimacy. And I have to say there's definitely art in it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then some questions that I found to be useful to ask myself is, is this serving us in love? Is this serving our deeper purpose?
Yeah.
Right. And doing it not from just it's 8 o'clock and we're going to do this.
Yeah.
But is this really what's the underlying reason, right? Just having your heart open with it. And that'll help tremendously.
I thought about something. Hi, Clay. Hi, Clay. Hey, Marty. I can't see from way back here. What I want to say too, and may I talk about that one date night that was just a disaster?
Oh yeah, I know which one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We were doing some I think it was a premarital session with one of our teachers, and it was super deep. Like we went into childhood stuff and patterns and all the things, and it was so heavy that it was draining. And John and I actually weren't living together at the time. We did, but I remember it was a set date night, and this was back when John was like, if it's going to be this time, it's going to be
That's
this way.
right.
We're going to have
That's right.
date night, and it's going to be date night. And by golly, damn it, we're going on date night.
We are going to have fun.
And we're going to
no
have
matter
forced
what.
fun. And I remember we went out to dinner that night, and it was probably, it wasn't the worst date I've ever been on, but it definitely was one where I just didn't want to go. And I even said it, baby, I really don't want to go. And you went.
I was adamant. No, we're going on a date. We're going
Yeah.
to, we have this on the calendar. And I was completely inflexible about it. And I would agree. It's not the worst, but it made the record books for sure.
From between us, at least.
Yeah. And it was not a good fit. So, man, you probably had those where things have just blown. You're like, and look, it is a dance, right? I will hear that I want structure, and then, I don't want structure. And it's that art of how do you balance it? How do you do it in love? And, not forcing something, but being on purpose and doing it in love is really the key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And having that conversation. So if you don't currently have a morning practice, I mean, that's something that we can definitely talk about. Feel free to DM me, and I can send you. I have a PDF that I can share with you. Having a morning practice, what that looks like. Also, setting a sacred space in your house, even if you're in a very small space. I spoke to someone yesterday, and they're just blending their families, and they're in a smaller space than what she's used to. And so there's a way that you can have a sacred corner where that's where you're going to have your meditative practice, or maybe that's where you're going to do your devotion, or whatever it is. The key is to have consistency, and especially for women out there, to have that structure there is going to allow you to be more free and to be more creative, and to actually allow yourself to just trust and know that in this time, this is what I'm going to be doing, which allows there, like I said, more freedom for later.
Yeah.
So I know some of you here aren't in partnership, and I want you to know I was in a partnership for a really long time. And these are things that I did. And, listen, we're human. We're fumbling and falling.
Yep.
I mean, that's what we're here for. And we're just sharing some of our things that are coming up. So would love to, hi, Emily. Hey, Dawn. Would love to hear from you guys. What are some practices that you already do? Maybe you didn't think that they were called practices. Maybe it's just something that you just do and it makes you feel really good. And when you don't do it, you're like, You mentioned to me, you had Bible study this morning, and one of the men said, or maybe it wasn't Bible study. Maybe that was something I heard, that someone they toast their morning with like a clink of coffee.
Yeah. There's actually I have a friend who was sharing some of the rituals that they do, and it's not a huge time consuming thing, right? But every single morning they toast the day over their morning coffee.
Yeah.
And they've done this for years, and it's become a connection between them that every morning they do this, they set it, they work together, they're with each other all the time, but it's a beautiful way to start the day and just remind them of that relationship. And, this doesn't have to be for your intimate partners either. I know a friend of mine that I work with, and he read 15 minutes to all three of his daughters every single day.
Oh, wow.
And he had done this for years. I mean, they were now in their early to late teens, and he continued to do this. And he would step out of a meeting and would go read and come back in. It was absolutely something that was done. Cool. And it was such a tremendous bond between him and his daughters to do that. So there's a beauty in these things when you do them over time, and just builds a huge connection.
And energy is everything. Make sure your energy is clear and your focus is not on duty, but as, and not obligation, but it's actually something that you get to do. There's really something. Hey, Gary. Hi, Amy. There's something to be said about the languaging of I get to do this versus I have to do this. And sometimes it's going to feel like I have to, I'm sure. But if you can flip that and see the better good and see the longer vision or long game, what's going to happen, it's so huge. So we just wanted to pop on and share that, because I know I really appreciate the space that we had last night and this morning at 8:30. I was having my coffee. We did our practice. And then he showed up here, and here we are talking to you. So hope these help you. Would love to hear maybe what you're doing. Put in the comments if you have any suggestions for other people. I mean, you can get really creative with these things. I think it's really important too, just to have these rituals. Yeah, absolutely.
Would love to hear ideas. Always love to hear ideas on how it's working for you, and things that you found on your own. Also wanted to celebrate something huge. We had our men's group last night, and had a number of men that joined. Absolutely fantastic. Love the fellowship. Love the men that were just showing up to deepen their practice and grow. And
Woo!
you know what, it was awesome seeing that many men together going, how can I better lead my family? How can I better lead my partner? How can I better lead my business and the people that are responsible for my income or for their income? And it was absolutely honor each and every man that showed up last night. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and I honor you for putting that together. And again, I was speaking to some clients yesterday about the masculine burden. And, you know, if you are in partnership, I mean, yes, we're all feeling the burden, but there's something you can do to honor your man and let him know that you appreciate what he's doing and how he's holding space. You know, even if you're the primary breadwinner, ladies, I mean, there's something to be said about honoring man. They really deserve our respect, where we actually want to be more loved and adored, you know, to respect. And that's really huge. So I honor you for putting that together. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And then, and also the sisterhood. I'm like loving the women that I put together in this group. We have one more spot left. Would love for, you know, to have this beautiful lady come to have a discovery call. I don't let everybody in because sometimes it's just not the right fit during the timing, or maybe that, you know, energetically it just isn't working. But I'm looking forward to filling that space and us getting started next week. So we appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us today. Anything else?
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Have
Fantastic
a beautiful, beautiful day.
Day.
See you later.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.